So, Luton 2, Huddersfield 1. Here are my thoughts on Luton picking up the 3 points at home. Honestly, I did not expect what I witnessed today. I felt really worried going into this match because I didn't know what to expect, especially after losing 5-0 against Barnsley on the weekend. You expect a reaction, but with the way we've been performing this season, I don't know anymore. I really go into games now with zero expectation because these group of players, I can't quite work them out because sometimes we can do it, sometimes we can't. And for the first time this season, well, actually for the second time this season, we've beaten a half decent side. I do think Huddersfield will be up there at the end of the season. I know they haven't quite got going yet with their squad, with their group of players. There's a lot of quality there, but they are also having a lot of frustration just as much as what we are. But of course, there's a lot more expectation at Luton, I would say, because of the parachute payments and obviously where we've been in the last 2 years. But to perform the way we did, I thought we did deserve the 3 points overall. I thought the first 17 minutes was fantastic. One of the best I've seen so far this season in terms of the pressure we were piling on, the amount of corners we were winning, the half moments. We needed to turn that momentum, that spell of pressure into a goal, which we were unable to do. And I felt because we had such a good 17 minutes, we were unable to, I felt like we were unable to continue that throughout the first half. Then Huddersfield managed to get themselves back into the game. They had like a little 5 to 10 minute spell, but then we managed to get back in through a corner. And look what happens when you shoot. And it came from probably our best signing of the season in young Jake Richards. Imagine an 18-year-old being your best signing from Exeter. I don't think many of us would have thought it. We thought, he's going to be one for the future. But actually, I haven't seen a bad game from him, and he's been such a bright spark. And I thought he'd done well for the 55 minutes he was on the pitch. Gutted that he came off injured. Hopefully it's not too serious. At the end of the game, he didn't look, the best. I have to be honest. He was hopping a little bit on that sore ankle, which it looks like he has injured. But what a great strike. Yes, it took a deflection, but that's what happens when you shoot. How many times have I've done these videos where I'm frustrated when players don't shoot on sight, when we get into space and time outside the box and we try and do that extra pass or we try and be a bit clever with it. Sometimes you just got to shoot, and as we saw today, it took a deflection and it went in, and it put us 1-0 up going into the break at half time. And I thought, overall, we were the better side in the first half. There was definitely a penalty shout for Huddersfield. They had a shot which was blocked by Nigel Longvik, who I actually thought had a really good game, despite being only on the pitch for 60 minutes, I think, or 65 minutes. I think because he hasn't had much, game time in recent weeks, he can only do so much. But I actually thought he had quite a good game. But yeah, good block by him, but I think it did hit his arm. I don't know if VAR, if VAR did exist in League One, if they would have gave a penalty for it, because I don't think he made himself big. I don't think he leant towards the ball. What can you do when the ball is blasted, 5 yards away from you? If your arms are by your side, I don't know what else he could possibly do as a defender. But yes, it was definitely going in if he didn't block the shot. So it'd be interesting to see what would have happened from that outcome, but I thought the ref made the right decision not to give a penalty. Of course, I'm going to say that as a Luton fan. I did think we should have had a penalty in the second half where the Huddersfield player basically, grabbed his whole... all his arms were all over Fanny. He wasn't looking at the ball at all and literally threw Fanny to the ground. Don't know how the referee did not give a penalty for that, but luckily that didn't cost us the game and we still managed to get the second goal eventually in the second half. Huddersfield in the second half did come out firing, especially in the first 15 minutes. And we did give away such a stupid free kick in a dangerous position. It's the second time in 2 games now where we've done that, when we don't need to give away this, the silly foul. I think it was Yates who gave away the foul, and also he didn't really have the best of games. I know he got the goal, but let's be honest, that was Fanny's goal. Fanny did all the determination. He did all the hard work to get that. But Yates for me, again, not had another good game. He just feels like he's miles away from everything. I don't know what his job is to do for us. I don't get it. I know he might feel like he's trying, but I just feel like he's not doing enough for me. Sometimes it does feel like we're playing with 10 men, and I feel like when Brown came on the pitch in the second half, what he did in as a sub appearance was a lot more than what Yates did for the whole entire game. Personally, that's how I felt. But it was an excellent free kick by Huddersfield. Nothing which Keeley could have done about it. Personally, I thought it was just a fantastic finish. I also felt the wall was set up wrong, like it was against Barnsley. If you've seen the free kick from the game against Barnsley, basically Keeley gave the Barnsley players so much room to just, get the ball over the wall. It was, if you basically get it on target, it's going to go in. And I felt he did the same again for the Huddersfield free kick, but obviously the Huddersfield player went the opposite direction. But I don't think he was saving it regardless. It was a really good finish right into the top corner. But in terms of what Huddersfield actually created, it was basically half chances, near moments. Keeley hardly had anything to do, again, which is a good sign. I did think our defence did defend quite well. I thought Telemengi did a lot of clearances. I felt Cal Naismith not the best of games, if I'm being honest with you. I thought both of our wing-backs were fantastic in Hakeem Adofin and also Bramall. I thought, considering Adofin hasn't played too much in recent weeks, I thought that was a really good appearance from him. And I also thought Fane was brilliant as well. He's such a emotional player, Fane is. I feel like at times he's going to get sent off for just having that raw emotion, and that raw emotion is going to come at a time where we don't want it to come out, and he's going to lash out, and he's going to get us, and he's going to get sent off. It feels like that's going to happen at some point this season, like kicking the ball away in the first half. He doesn't need to do that, and the fact that the referee never booked him for that, I thought was mind blowing. But to be fair, that raw emotion can come in handy, especially like it did for the second goal. I felt from my view it was going in, and I think Yates just basically just made sure it went over the line. But just never giving up and, fighting for that ball, the second attempt. I thought he had a really good game, Fane. Playing in that, further advanced role. It's quite crazy how we thought he was a defensive midfielder. That's what, the Swedish fans from AIK were describing him, and we've not really ever played him there. And when we have played him deeper, he doesn't look like he can do the job. But when he plays further forward, that raw ability, the dribbling, the power, it comes in handy. It really does. And I think, he plays quite well in that advanced role. It's probably once he's left Luton, we're going to just, I feel like, discuss him in a lot more detail on. Remember when we signed him as a defensive midfielder and then we turned him into a number 10? Because that's pretty much what we've done. There's still a lot of development, a lot of potential there, which we need to, work on and getting better at. But, he's definitely a work in progress. But I think he has adapted to life in League One quite well. But I thought, overall, I thought we deserve to win the game on the balance of how it went. I think we deserved the 3 points. And and it was against a really good side. A good reaction, following the 5-0 defeat. I don't think it was perfect. I do think we can get better than that. I would like us to test the goalkeeper a lot more, especially in the first half. I think we had a few more attempts in the second. But I think overall, good win. We won quite a lot of turnovers in the midfield, which was good to see. We were winning a lot more battles. And what was really good as well is we won a game of football when we have conceded a goal, because we haven't quite done that so far this season. So we've managed to do that, and we've managed to kind of come back from a goal where, yes, Huddersfield got the equaliser, but I feel like in previous weeks we might have crumbled. We might have the pressure might have got to us, and we would have had our heads dropped. But instead we reacted and we got the goal quick after that. So it's nice to see us actually reacting for a change, rather than having a weak mentality like we did on Saturday against Barnsley and give up. We didn't. We carried on, and we got the win in the end. And I do think there were some really good performances, but we want to see more of that. We don't want to see that now don't turn up for another 2 to 3 more weeks. We want to see that on Saturday against Bolton, because I do think Bolton, they're another team. They're going to be up there at the end of the season. So if you can go into the game against Bolton and get a point, or even better, the 3 points, then that puts us in a really good position, and that's a good reaction, a good week following a 5-0, damaging defeat against Barnsley. So fingers crossed we can do that. And yeah, onwards and upwards. Don't want to get too carried away. But yeah, I want to see these performances become more consistent and get better. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the video comments. Smash the like button on today's video as well. And yeah, if you are new to my channel, hit that sub button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.